All right, let's get into some examples. Let me show you how dates work. So now the first thing is let's create a new object that instantiates or that calls the JavaScript date object. And I'm just going to make comments here so you can follow along. So here we're going to create a variable with the current time. So let's just say let now equal new date. What I'm going to do quickly is I'm just going to start Quokka so we don't have to console this to a browser. And now let's just see what now is. So there you go. How cool is this? We have 8 pieces of information here. And remember I said that time starts from 1st of January 1970 and that any time now is just how many milliseconds have passed since then? What do I mean by that? Well, let me show you. Let's get the current timestamp. So let's console log our time, which is now. And there's an inbuilt method. Remember how we were saying that these JavaScript date objects come with a whole lot of inbuilt methods? Well, one of them is getTime. And there you go. There you have it. That's how many milliseconds have passed since 1970. But hang on. Before we go further, there's just one thing which you may have noticed. This new keyword. Did you notice that new keyword? Well, when you use a new keyword in JavaScript, you're creating a new object. And yes, initially it's just going to be a blank object, but that object will inherit its prototype from somewhere else. We're going to get onto prototypes later, so don't stress too much yet. All that new keyword means is that it's creating a new object and that this keyword points to that newly created object. Well, what if we didn't use the new keyword? Good question. If you don't use a new keyword, you'll be fooled because the date that you create without the new keyword would just be a string. What I mean by that is you won't have access to any properties or methods. Let me show you what I mean. So let's now delete all this. And let's create a date, one with no new keyword and the other one the proper way with a new keyword. So let date1 equal date with no new keyword and let date2 equal new date. Let's see what they look like. And like I said, they're going to look the same. Date1 and date2. You can tell they look exactly the same. But we know they are not the same. And how do we test this? Remember the type of method. So we can just go console.log type of date1. It's a string. And if we copy this down and we try it on date2, it's an object. And this is the point I'm trying to make. When you're working with dates, make sure you remember the new keyword. Why is it important? Well, if you're wanting to access properties or methods, you won't be able to. It's just a string. Let's have a look. I'll show you what I mean. Remember how on the previous example we showed the getTime method and that produced the number milliseconds since 1970? That was a method that we accessed. Do you think we can do it here if it's a string? Let's see. And we get an error. Date1 getTime is not a function. So if in doubt, always just use the new keyword when working with dates. And I just want to give you another quick summary on the new keyword. Alright, very quick recap. We've seen that to start working with the date object, you must use the new keyword. And this just means a new empty object is created. And the object will inherit all properties from the date prototype. That's why you and I could access the getTime method. We didn't write that method. We could just access it straight out of the box. And that is because we used that new keyword. And the last thing that I did mention is that this keyword is bound to this new object that you create. We're going to have a whole bonus section on this, but just bear in mind this is what it does. Let's move on.